It's my feel-good breakfast show.
She is a leader, feminist, and co-founder of the Africa Matters initiative, which focuses on empowering and upskilling young Africans. South African activist Farai Mubaiwa's hard work and dedication to advancing Africa and its people has led her to numerous accolades, which include the Queen's Young Leader for South Africa for 2017, and she is also a King's Principles Global Leadership Award recipient. She is one example of what we should all strive to be, exceptional Africans making a difference. This morning, we catch up with Farai on life in lockdown and what it means to be African this Africa Month. Farai, a very good morning to you, and what a pleasure it is to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and happy Africa Day.
I mean, how has the national lockdown been treating you so far? I see that you are looking so gorgeous right now.
This is the first time in over 50 days that I've looked this decent. But yeah, I must say, during the lockdown, it's been interesting because it's definitely, I commend the government for all of their incredible actions. I think that very often there was this expectation that African countries wouldn't do well when it comes to lockdown. But we've seen incredible leadership from South Africa to Senegal to Rwanda. So I definitely commend our leaders for what they've done.
You are a co-founder of the African Matters initiative. Tell us why starting this initiative was so important to you.
Sure. So here's the thing, right? Africa has got over 230 million young people between 15 to 24. Now, there's a lot of economists around the world who will tell you that this is an economic burden, that Africa can't handle this, that we aren't investing enough in education and skills development, in social infrastructure, and in the protection of girls and children. But I think what's important for me is to say, all right, how do we turn this potentially economic burden into an economic opportunity? And the best way to do that is if we invest in young people. But this is not just expecting our governments to do that, but it's us as young people ourselves investing in one another. How can we develop and upskill each other so that we can transform our communities? And Africa Matters aims to do exactly that. We want to upskill and empower 10,000 young Africans from across the continent so that they can be the one to change and empower their communities and change this narrative of Africa being this nation of despair, because we're not.
What are some of the programs that are offered by the Africa Matters initiative?
We've got 3 flagship programs. We've got our Schools Leadership Development Program, which focuses on how do we empower school children to start thinking like leaders. What does leadership mean, and how do you lead within your own community? That's from ages from 12 to 18. We've then got our Youth Leadership Program, which is about your young people out of school and young professionals between 18 to 30, which looks at leadership, it looks at career strategy, it looks at advocacy, it looks at social entrepreneurship, and these are all important skills for one to ascertain, for them to truly make an impact. Our last program is our Africa Matters Ambassadors Program, which is about identifying young Africans from key countries and ensuring that we give them a year leadership development program for them to impact their communities. Now, because of the impact of COVID, these are usually programs that have been done on the ground in different communities, but we've now had to re-strategize. How do we still empower young Africans through leveraging technology to reach everyone in this very difficult time? So we have launched what we call Africa Matters Masterclasses for Africa Month, where you'll be able to gain incredible access and content to great teachings and learnings that we need, from African leadership to African feminisms to social entrepreneurship to advocacy. And I really believe that if as young Africans we take initiative over our own lives through ensuring that we are upskilled and empowered and empowering others within our own communities, we will achieve the Africa that we want.
Farai, do you think that one day this would be implemented in, the school curriculum? Because I think it's something that from a young age needs to be instilled within us, that should you identify a problem, don't wait for someone else to fix it. You as the youth have the power to fix it today.
Absolutely. So that is what our hope is. And I'm hoping that for anyone in government who is watching this or in education watching this, we really want this program to be implemented across all schools from an early age. I think too often the narrative around leadership and being young is that you have to wait until you're 30 and have got 15 years of work experience before you can start making a difference.
Farai, before we let you go, you want to know what it means to you to be proudly African.
To be proudly African means to to see the potential that Africa has to offer. To be proudly African means learning your history. I must say that's one thing that I think, particularly as South Africa, we don't do enough of. You'll find so many different friends from other African countries can tell me about South Africa. But there was a point when I wouldn't be able to tell about what happened in Sierra Leone or in Senegal. But the more I've been reading and educating, the more I learn different things. And the more important it is to then be in tune with what it means to be Africans. So I just want to encourage all of you who are watching this Africa Month, learn what it means to be an African. Look at your history. Look at where we come from and look at the greatness that is Africa. And know that the West is not invincible. And COVID has shown us that. Africa is here and Africa is now.
I love that so much. And once we know the history of our beautiful continent and the history of our people, that's when also things such as xenophobia will be done with or will be dealt with. So that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. And finally, Farai, if you had to choose, what would you say is your favorite African dish?
Hands down, inyama ngaphakathi and itombolo.
Intestines.
It is so good. And my mother-in-law makes it for me all the time. So I love it.
And the best way to make it is with love.
Absolutely. So much love. And I can just eat that forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us this morning, Farai. It was an absolute pleasure. Please continue to make a difference on the African continent and continue to inspire us with your greatness. Have a fantastic morning further.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really excited to be here, and I hope that you are all having a fantastic Africa Month.
We definitely are. Now, to all our viewers, as an African community, let us for Africa Month and beyond communicate, share ideas and exchange expertise so that we can take this beautiful and beloved continent to new heights together. Now, make sure to stay tuned to your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, as we will be making Farai's favorite African dish for Africa Month. You do not want to miss it.